All right, how you doing? This is Kevin McCain again with Kevin McCain Studios and ArtZealots.com. Again, this is a little bit about drawing, and today we're going to talk a little bit about drawing papers. And we're going to talk about some of the ones that we use for my drawing classes and just some drawing things to look for with drawing papers in general. I've got a couple different pads here. These are all Strathmore. These are good papers to use. Canson also makes, that's C-A-N-S-O-N, Canson, makes some great papers. A couple things you might want to look for. You're going to look for the poundage, which is usually right here in the corner. This is like 106 pound paper. This is Strathmore 500 series. It's a nice paper to use. It has kind of a cream color to it. The only thing I like, remember whenever you're using paper, a couple things. If it's already white, you've lost, or pardon me, if it's cream colored, you've lost your whites. So a lot of times I'll try to find a paper that's a little more brilliant white. And there's a lot of them out there. A lot of times I'll use like Arches watercolor paper for my drawings, but you don't need to go that far. Strathmore, again, makes great stuff. Look for the poundage. Make sure that's over 70 pound. That means that it's a little heavier, so you can, not only is the paper has a little bit more strength to it, but it'll also hold up to some more aggressive drawing techniques, and it will usually hold a little more graphite than if you're using something like, printer paper or newsprint or just some really thin sketch paper. The other thing you want to look for is for texture. This is a medium texture. All these are medium texture papers. Most artists will use a medium texture paper because it holds the graphite, so you can get darker darks on a medium texture paper than you can on, say, a completely smooth paper, or what's sometimes referred to as plate or high plate, meaning there's no texture whatsoever. It's just slick as slick. You can't get as dark on those papers. But these are medium texture papers are good all-around papers. So all these are medium texture papers, and they're really great for drawing. The only difference between these two Strathmore, these are that this is a 500 series, this is a 400 series. The 400 series has a little bit more of that antique or off-white. This is, I guess you could almost say that's ivory, as opposed to this, which is a little lighter, which I like of the two. I like a lot more. This is our 11 by 14, gives you enough size so you can actually do a drawing. So this is what I use in my classes at the very least. Sometimes we'll even use a bigger size paper, 16 by 20, 18 by 24, just depending on what type of drawing we're doing. And this is the third type. This is a different type of paper altogether. It's Bristol. It's called Bristol board. It's almost like light illustration board. It's much thicker than the other two. It's a 2-ply, so again, it's a little thicker, a little hardier. It's a medium surface. It's called vellum. This is called the surface. It's still a medium texture paper, and it can be really good for drawing. A lot of people will use Bristol board because you can use multimedia with it, markers and these other types of things, and just mix up your media that you're using. If you're doing an illustration and you want to do a little marker and maybe a little watercolor and maybe a little bit of charcoal graphite, whatever, just kind of mix it up. Great to use. I know quite a few people that use this for their really nice tight drawings. Since it's 2-ply, it's got a little bit more give to the paper. Almost like what you'd call a water leaf or a low-sized paper. All that means is there's a little more give to the paper when you put down your mark. So for me, I can't get as rich darks on this Bristol paper. So I prefer these, but this is still a really good type of paper. The other thing to think about is this is tape bound, meaning that there's no wire binding to it. I prefer the wire bindings because your paper is not going to go anywhere unless you want to actually rip it out. Much hardier. With the tape bound papers, sometimes it can just break down, your paper falls out, all that other kind of stuff. But that's just something that I consider as well, is that I don't want my sketchbook's just kind of falling apart. And if you get wire bound, they don't. So use paper that's over 70 pound. You're going to want a medium texture, either vellum or it'll say medium. Somewhere on this sheet it'll say this is medium. This one right here, definitely medium. You can get papers, and again, in smooth, medium, and so they're harder to find, but there's even coarse papers where they have a very pronounced texture. Remember that Bristol, if you're getting the Bristol board, that vellum is the surface you want. That's their medium surface. You don't want plate or smooth. Mostly you'll say smooth. Sometimes you'll still find them using the old reference of plate, meaning that it's just completely slick. So yeah, use really good paper for your drawing. That way you'll have more successful drawings. You'll be able to do more with the value, get more. You'll be able to get a little bit more with the detail and technique and just all kinds of good stuff. So paper is a very important factor in doing your drawings. This has been Kevin McCain with Kevin McCain Studios. You can check out my drawing courses on artzealots.com, and it's an online course for people who want to learn the foundational skills of drawing.